Okay. We're holding Amarava, I think, on 30B. Makes sense?
I think we did.
Where am I seeing this?
Lama number base. Okay. Thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. In the course of our learning, we should have the basic English immediately. Learning in the schus, really nishmas of Zahava Golda Bas Baruch Yamin. And whoever needs a refuah shlema, should have a refuah shlema. Okay, we were talking about the concept of zaken vein lefi chvaydai. Sometimes there's a person that would never do it, would never be seen carrying a sack, looks like a laundry bag in the street, because someone dropped it off his truck or something. Now he has to carry it. It's not respectful for him. So Amarava kol sheb'shalei machzeh b'shel chavein ami machzeh. If this is something that he would do for himself, he would if it was his own item, he would return it. So then he's obligated to return it for his friends. Sometimes people get extra strict, and they say, if it was my own thing, I would do it. But no, that's how it works. If it's your own thing, you would do it, then you're obligated to return this lost item to his friend as well. If this individual would unload his own donkey and load up his own donkey, so then he's obligated to do that for his friend as well, if his friend needs that.
We're not willing to do something for ourselves, but we will do it for someone else. We see that they need it.
Yeah, according to Rav, Hillel is a tzaddik. He's saying that sometimes you would only do it for someone else, but for yourself you wouldn't do it. So Rav is saying that in such a case you wouldn't be obligated to do it. Yeah, that could be the chiddush. Yeah, I thought the chiddush was one way. He'll tell me the chiddush is the other way. No. That you'd be exempt from doing that because you just want to do it for your friend. Yeah, interesting.
Go help someone. I'm like, I would never do this for myself.
Okay.
Just let this here.
Okay, Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosi, Havikazel Borcha. Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosi, this is Rabbi Yosi, one of the students of Rabbi Akiva. His name was Rabbi Yosi ben Chalafta. He had a son, Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosi. He was the one that was exiled to Tzipori in the conversation with Rav Shimon bar Yochai and Rabbi Huda. No, this is when Rav Shimon bar Yochai had to hide in a cave. Remember, so his father was Rabbi Yosi. Anyway, Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosi, he was considered the Rav, and was a friend of Rabbi Danasi. Avikazel Borcha was going on the road. Pagabeu Gavri, he meets this fellow. Havidari Pasche de Ufe. He was carrying a load of wood, and a spin of a kamitbach. He put it down and he was resting. Amalei, so the guy tells to Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosi, Dalili, help me lift it up. He wants to put it back on his shoulder. Amalei, Kamashavan, he says, how much is it worth? Amalei Palga de Zuzah. It says it's worth a half a zuz. So Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yosi, it's ein lefi chvaydai to start lifting piles of wood to help this guy. Yavli Palga de Zuzah v'afkari. So he bought the wood from him. He gives him half a zuz. He says, okay, now it's mine. No, don't worry about it. You got your money. And he left it there. So Hadazachabu, the guy goes and wants to pick it up. So now he says, okay, now help me put it on my shoulder. I have this new wood. So Hadi Yavli Palga Zuz, he gives him another half a zuz. This could go on all day. v'afkere, and he makes it ownerless. Chazit tekava boim l'mahadal l'miskeve. So Rabbi Shmuel Bar Abasi sees that the fellow is going to take it for the third time, and he says, "Amle l'kuli alma afkerino u'l'cholay afkerino." I made it hefker for the whole world, but not for you. You can't take it.
Wow.
So you, it's still mine. So the Gemara says, "Can you do that?" The Gemara and the professor say, "Miyabi hefker ki agavna." Can you really do that? But we have a Mishnah that says, "Bishamim hefker laniyim hefker, bisalam reina hefker, shia hefker laniyim lashim kishmita." There's a discussion about exempting produce from Meiser. If you make it ownerless, it says Tazev, and there's an extra Tazev by Meiser. It doesn't have the extra one. By Meiser, it does, it doesn't. Anyway, whatever the case is, that if it's if once it's Hefker, then you're exempt from Meiser. Yeah, it says an extra. Once it's Hefker, you're exempt from Meiser. The question is if you could make it Hefker for Aniyim, but not for Ashirim. So Beishami says it works, and Beis Hillel says it doesn't work. So which basically means when you make it hefker, according to Beis Hillel, it has to be for everyone hefker.
Right.
So how could you just make it hefker, ownerless, for everyone except for this guy? Actually, what really happened was that Rabbi Shmuel Bar Abasi made it hefker for everyone, including this fellow. But he just told him that I didn't make it hefker for you. And he just doesn't want him to take it. Now, commentators are concerned that this is sort of like it's Gnevas Das. He's Gnevas Das is when you mislead someone. It's not true. It's not actually true. The guy does really have it, but maybe it's because the guy was misleading him. So maybe it worked, but I don't know.
The guy never really sold it in the first place, in a way. I don't know.
You think he never sold it?
Well,
he gave him the money.
Like, he gave the money, but it's not really. It's still, he knows that Rabbi Shmuel is not going to take it, so it's as if it's always his. The whole thing. There's a lot more going on in the story. I mean, clearly I think this is also like a deeper meaning behind it.
Yeah. What do you think?
Eliyahu Navi gathered wood. So Hogavra here is Eliyahu Navi.
Where did Eliyahu Navi gather wood?
By Mount Carmel. Like he arranged the wood for 3 times, same kind of thing. And he asked for 3 times.
It says that he got food. It says he took wood also.
Yeah, he arranged the wood for the
Oh, you're saying by the what's it called? By the by Baal.
Yeah, exactly. By that event. Yeah, it says pour water for me. Okay, pour water for me again. Okay, pour water for me again.
Is the expression there dully also, like to draw water?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe the expression was dully, which is similar to here. That's interesting.
There is sort of like if someone doesn't want to sell something and then you kind of like force it to buy it.
Oh, that is if he doesn't want to sell it something. That's we're gonna have in Baba Basra. Force him to sell it. That's interesting.
Like he really doesn't want to sell it. Like he really wants his. Have his this was nice.
I think he just wants both over here, but okay.
So Dali can mean lift and pour water.
Yeah. Yeah. The Dali is actually the bucket. Do you want to get a Malachim? It's Malachim Beis, right? When you get it, you see the blue volumes down at the end. The one that says Malachim on it.
Malachim Aleph.
Malachim Aleph. Yeah. No, further down by the end of to the right.
Yud Chesed.
Yeah. No. Come to this side, all the way to the corner. Keep going. The end, the last.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly. So one of them says Malachim on it. Okay, very interesting. You see kings? See one that says kings? Okay. Says Vaha Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi Zaken Ben Ulfi Chvei have it. 1 second. Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, he didn't have to lift it out. He was pater anyway. He didn't have to give him money. He was always pater. So yeah, here it is. Vayemru Milu Abba Kadam Bayitzku Ala Olav Ala Itzim. He just said Bayitzku. Shnu Vayishnu Vayemru Shaleshu Vayishaleshu. He did it 3 times. Okay, so there's a very interesting commentary from Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch on the Tillim. Daniel, do you have that? Hirsch on the Psalms. On Arimim Hashem Ki Dilisani. Dilisani, he says that we have our hope, all our trust is in Hashem, and he makes it like a deli, that it's a bucket that hangs from a string. He says, Ki Dilisani, we're lifted up, we're hanging from above, and that's how Hashem is holding us. Everything, we're totally dependent on Hashem. No support from anything else. That's the Dilisani. Anyway.
Well, the Bnei Sachar has something on that too.
Oh yeah.
And the Dal becoming the Dalet. The month of Tammuz, Av, and Elul. If you connect to Dal, then the Dal say the Fagn. Like it goes from being poor to being redeemed by connecting Tammuz and Av to Elul.
I think I remember that. Okay. So he said that Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi didn't have to do anything. So it says Lefnim Asher Sadin David. That was all Lefnim Asher Sadin. That was going beyond the law. The Tani Rabbi Yosef, because Rabbi Yosef taught. Rabbi Yosef was much later than Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, but this must have been a tradition. Vaydatalem, make known to them Zebes Chayim. This means that they should tell them that they have to find to get a job, to learn an income. Some say it means to study Torah, but over here means, Rashi says, means to get a job. Esaderech, teaching them the way. Zugmils chasadim is to do kindness. Yelchu or Asher Yelchu zebikar chaylim. This is to visit the sick. Ba zukfura. When it says it, that's referring to burial. Besamaisa and the actions adin. That means the law. Asher yasan, that they should do. So where Moshe was supposed to teach the people, even that they should go beyond the law. So Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yosi was going beyond the law. He didn't have to do this, but he was going to go beyond the law to help the person, but he didn't want to help him, so he paid him. He bought the wood from him. Because really, he could have exempted himself anyway. He says, I don't need to do that. But he wanted to go above the law, so he paid him for the wood. Yeah.
And similarly, a person could go above the law to return a lost object in a way that's beneath his dignity.
Right. That's what we're learning here.
So it's his choice.
Right. Yeah.
So there's this rabbinical out if he wants to take it. To Shabbos Aveda, which is a deraisa.
Right. Even though but he has a biblical exemption, but he can still do that. He can still return it. In this Gemara, there's an interesting point, because why did he have to be mafkared at all? If he doesn't want the guy to take it, so just leave it over there and say that it's mine. I'm just leaving it. So Taisa says he doesn't want other people to violate sigzal, other people to violate stealing, because someone else is going to come by, see it there, and say, "Oh, it's wood. Just take it." Meanwhile, it belongs to Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yosi. So he wants to make it hefker so that other people don't stumble. Not stumble as in stumble, but stumble in law, stumble. Amar Mar was the master Torah Rashi Yelchu Zebika Chaylim. Hainu Gemil Chasadim. Why do we have to have a separate word of the pasuk to teach me? Visiting the sick is acts of kindness. Ben Gila. No, we have a chiddush over here because of Ben Gila. I think we mentioned this before recently. Ben Gila is someone that's born under the same constellation. We said that when he visits a sick person, so he actually takes a part of his sickness. The master taught, Ben Gila mishishim b'chalyai. Even though the person that's visiting him gets 1/60th of the illness, so maybe we'd say, well, he doesn't have to go because maybe he's going to get some of the sickness. Nevertheless, he still has to go.
It would be like 1/60th and then 1/60th again.
Yeah.
It's not like if 60 people go see him.
Yeah, that was a Taisvis, and Hill is asking. So 60 people go, and then the guy gets better automatically. But Taisvis over there in Baba Kama said that each person would be 1/60th of 59, a 60th of 58, or whatever, because each one removes 1/60th. But it doesn't become. You have to take off 1/60th, and then you have a new number. Not each one is a 60th of 60. Yeah.
You want to make sure you're the 60th person to go. Get a itty bitty bit of his illness, but you make him good. It looks like.
So he's saying that maybe he shouldn't have to go because he's going to get sick.
Yeah.
So he says that no, he's supposed to go anyway. So Baz Ukfura Haina Gemilas Chasadim, and it says to bury. That's also referring to Gemilas Chasadim. Once you know Gemilas Chasadim, you basically know everything. Why do you have to have these others for Bikur Chaylam and Kfura for burial? Okay, so here, this is interesting. Here it's talking about that even though this person, it's not respectful for him to start digging and burying this person, but nevertheless, when it comes to a burial, we override that because of Kavod Abrius, and we say that he, honor for the creation. And he said that we still is obligated to be involved in the burial, even though by other mitzvahs we would say, like returning a lost object, he doesn't have to. By burial, he does have to. Asher Yasin. Okay, now it says that he should do this. We said was a zulif nimasher sadin, that a person is supposed to go above the law. Rabbi Yochanan says, the reason why Jerusalem was destroyed was because they made rulings according to the Torah. So the Gemara asks, what do you want them to do? You don't want them not to follow the Torah. Ella daine the megista ladino. You want them megista? Yeah, how do they translate that? You want them to be like this, like a violent type of rules? How do they?
It says arbitrary decisions.
Arbitrary decisions. What is it?
Tyranny.
Oh, tyranny. So is that what you want them to do? Not that they follow the Torah. It's that they only follow the Torah and they didn't go above the law. And that's why Jerusalem was destroyed. The Taisvus asks, that's not what we learned. We learned Jerusalem was destroyed because of Sinas Chinam. Taisvus says that there were both. It was both. There were two causes. I noticed something over here. Let me just see. Sinas Chinam was faceless hatred.
It was between the scholars and the non-scholars.
Oh yeah, there were different factions, and yeah,
And that they did not go above the letter of the law.
right.
If you don't go,
Can't you say this is the first based on like this?
What is it?
It's like they were doing
What about it being the first versus the second?
This it sounds like it's from Taisvus. It sounds like the second, because he says he's referring to
Mosquito.
him.
The first one was a short because La Bar Torah, right? Because they were keeping the Torah, they just weren't considering it holy.
I didn't understand it like that. I thought the first one was because of Avodah Zarah, Gila Rayas, and Shvichas Damim.
Right, yeah, that's another shot, yeah.
And then Shlei Baruch B'Torah Tchila, I thought that was, why was Jerusalem plowed over? Why was the city of Yerushalayim? This is like Harbi Yerushalayim. One was the Beis Hamikdash, one was Yerushalayim. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same. One of them may be like after Beitar, I think they plowed it over or something. It could have been a later stage. But whatever the case is, over there it says, what are you saying? Right? That was the Gemara Nadarim. Okay. Ezu hi Avedu, we have a new Mishnah here. This last point. I think I might have told you the shot from Reuven Margolius that how come the people by Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, how come the rabbis did not protest that the person should stay? So he says that because the Yakira Yerushalayim, the important people of Yerushalayim, would only eat at a meal that they had a guest list. But, they had to make sure, because they wanted to make sure the food wasn't impure. So it was because of their strictness about the laws of impurity that they didn't allow any uninvited guests to be there. So it was really like a rigidity about halacha, that because of that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. And which is a very confusing pshat, because so what are you suggesting? That we shouldn't keep the laws properly. That's a very difficult pshat. Maybe according to this, that they were so strict with the laws that was the sinas chinam, that they weren't able to oversee. It's the opposite of Purim, where you take food from someone else's house and you eat it even without saying, "Oh, I only eat from my own kitchen."
The great Rav Henkin told a story about a girl who came to him, a Balas Tshuva, who wanted to ask her to go to her parents' house for Pesach. And because of his rigid view of halakha, he said he was absolutely unable to find such a heter. So he sent her to his friend, Bob Feinstein, who he was sure would be able to help her. He viewed this as a chesaron in his outlook, that he could only be so rigid in halakha, like this Gemara.
Ramesha's heter was a kimli. Ramesha said that if you trust them, that's as strong as the halacha trusting them. That if you feel that they're trustworthy, that you can say that, usually halacha would only trust someone that's observant. When you trust them, they said, my pots I never use, they're brand new pots. How can you trust them? They're not observant. You can't trust what they say, right? So Ramesha says no, that if you personally trust them, that's good enough. If you have reason to trust them, that's good enough. It doesn't have to be the halachic trust. Okay. The Mishnah says, what's considered a lost object? The Gemara is going to discuss this, because it's really what we're actually doing is the opposite. What we're really saying over here is, Ezu hi aveda, what is considered a lost object that you don't have to return? If you find a donkey or a cow that are pasturing on the road, this is not considered an aveda. They wander around and they make their way back at night, and you don't have to start taking it anywhere. But if you see a donkey with the vessels and it's turned over, or if you see a cow that's running through vineyards, that's harezu aveda. That's already a lost object. Not you would have to return. Let's see, you returned it and it ran away again. You returned it and it ran away again. Even 4 or 5 times, you still have to return it. It says you should surely return it, which means even more than once. I'm going to say it's probably even up like 100 times. Here it only says 4 or 5. Let's say he has a very important job. He goes to the job, he's going to have to work really hard, and he's going to make a lot of money. But if he returns this lost item, he's going to work very little, and he'll lose that money. So he says, if I'm going to do this, I would like to be paid for all the money that I'm losing by not going. So the owner of the item says that yes, but when you would go to your job, you would have to work hard. When you return the lost item, you're basically getting a vacation, and you still want the same money. Right. So I'll pay you, but I'll pay you for a pile bottle, someone that's not doing the job, as a worker that's sitting on the side and not doing his job. That's what I'll do.
Not even a cucumber
watchman. Which is similar to the cucumber watchman, probably.
It's called opportunity cost. The first item. I'm a lawyer. I make $300 an hour. So I'm going to move your car. I go on $300 an hour. Right. So you take him with his opportunity cost is $1 an hour.
The opportunity cost is the
lost opportunity by doing you the favor.
And here we're lessening that opportunity cost because we're saying, but the fact is, but you're not actually doing that difficult work.
Right. So you should get paid the same way Schlepper would.
Right.
So what do you do?
So we'll see in the Gemara, but it's you view him as someone that is a lawyer but not working.
An unemployed lawyer.
Yeah.
You pay him the lawyer's fee.
You pay him what that lawyer would get on without doing the difficult work.
Right.
Which would be a much less, like some other work. Bringing the coffee to the
unemployed lawyer.
Government lawyer.
But government lawyer. And Yesham Bezdin, but if there is a Bezdin there, then Masn Bifnei Bezdin, then he could actually say it in front of Bezdin. It doesn't actually mean a Bezdin. It means 3 people. That's considered a Bezdin. He could say in front of them that I'm only doing this if I get paid for my work. So I would actually rather do the work. But if I need to return this, then I want the money. And if he doesn't have 3 people there to notify that he's only going to do this unless, so then his own income comes first. He doesn't have to lose money.
Oh,
He
keeps on driving to work. He doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Help the guy on the side of the street.
His new job.
The Gemara asks, yeah, we had a bunch of Mishnayos before this. And you want to tell me that all of those are not Avedas? Because now the Mishnah started off. Ezuhi Aveda, what is considered a lost item? That means like before this, it wasn't lost items. So the Gemara says, Amar Rav Yehuda, Hachikamar, what the Mishnah really means is Ezuhi Klal Aveda Shuchayev. What is the general rule that of an Aveda that he would be obligated to do? And the following is not considered Aveda. That's not considered because it's not considered lost. It's just pasturing on the road. But that would be something that you are obligated. Now the Gemara says, if you see this for the last 6 weeks, this animal on the road, so it's still considered that it has an owner and it's not considered a lost item. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav. That's the most common 5 words in Shas. It says Ad Shleisha Yamim, only 3 days. Only for 3 days, it's considered that it's not lost. So Echidami, what's going on over here? What's the case? If it's at night, Afilu Chada Shaita Nami. Animals at night usually go back to their home, and just wandering around at night, then it's lost even for 1 hour. If it's during the day, Afilu Tuva Nami, like animals by day always go out by day. They go out to eat and to graze. So it's shouldn't be considered lost even for a long time. The Gemara says, plus a Yomi. Plus a Yomi. What's happening here? Good morning. What's happening here is that we're seeing it a little bit before dawn, which is a little bit too early, and we're seeing it a little bit after dark, which is a little bit too late. Usually the animals by then already, they know the difference between dawn and twilight. The animals have it in their clock. they understand that they should have had back. So if we see it 1, 2, or 3 days, we say, okay, whatever, it's a little late. It happens sometimes. But if it happens more than that, then we say the animal's lost.
Then you're obligated.
Then you're obligated. Tanya Namihachi was also taught someone a brayse, what's a talis bekardam bisratya. If you find a talis or a kardam is like an axe or a hatchet, and we just came to 31 on the top. Or you see a cow that's running between the vineyards, Harezu Avedas. Isratya is a public area. Like a square or something. City square. Highway or something. Okay, talis bitzad together. If you find the talis next to a fence, or kardam bitzad together, you find this axe next to a fence. Para roya beinakramin. And you see a cow that's grazing, not running, but grazing between the vineyards. Einzu aveda. That's not considered an aveda. Gimel yamim ze'achar. But if you see it 3 days, one after another, then harezu aveda. Then it is considered an aveda. You see that 3 days is the limit to how much we can say that it's not lost. But after that, we say that it's lost. Yeah, no, it doesn't tell me that it's talking about that it's early in the morning and at night, but I guess that's the idea. If someone sees water that's coming to make a flood, or he's a guy bifneim, so he has to put up a fence, a dam to stop it. Shouldn't destroy a field or something.
Like lost water.
I don't know if it's the lost water. We're worried about flooding, which could destroy crops.
So when the cow are worried about him eating fields, doing damage.
Right, you're worried about the cow. Yeah.
So this is someone else's field that you're protecting?
Yeah. We consider that a Shabbos Aveda as well. As the Gemara is about to discuss. Amar Rava says, when it says all the lost objects of your brother, that's including if he's going to lose land. How does he lose land? Well, if it's going to be destroyed because of a flood. Amalei Rav Chananya l'Rava. Rav Chananya says to Rava, Tani de Messiah, I have a brisa that supports you. Brisa says, the brisa that we just taught, if he sees water is coming to flood, he should put up a fence. That's a proof to Rava. Amalei, he says it's not a proof to me. If you think that's the proof, it's not a good proof. Over there, maybe there's crops, there's bundles of wheat that are in the field that are going to get ruined if he leaves it. So it's not the field, it's not the land that's going to get lost. It's the movable items that are going to get lost. It's the produce. So then what's the chiddush? Why do I need the brayse to say that's a regular lost item? Something is going to get destroyed. That's a regular thing. It says we do have a chiddush here. Even though it's not the land, it is the crops, the produce. But this type of produce is still attached to the ground. Somehow they bundled it while it's still attached. I think it could be they do that. Do they bundle it before they cut it? I'm not sure. But it was bundled, but it's still attached to the ground. Now, we could say like this. The crops are going to get lost because the flooding is going to come in. And we're worried about the produce. We're worried about the produce, not about the land. So, I could have thought that really it's considered attached to the ground and you're exempt because we don't have to worry about property getting lost. And this is considered property. So Kamashma comes to tell me that it's not considered property and you do have to worry about it. But actual property getting lost, I have no proof from this. No, he was trying to tell, Rava held that property getting lost has a mitzvah of Shabbos Aveda. Has a brisa that says that you have to stop the water from going. He says that brisa is not talking about property getting lost. That brisa is talking about produce getting lost. It says, well, produce, of course. So no, this is a produce that's attached to the property. He could have thought that it was property, which I'm exempt from, but which I don't need to protect. Kamash Malan, that it's considered separated from the property because it's already maybe a finished product or something. It's considered independent from the property, and that's why I need to protect it. That's what the brisa is saying. But actual Rava's Chiddush, we actually don't have a support from the brisa about if there would just be a property without any produce in it, but you have to stop the water from flooding it. That's Rava's chiddush. Rava holds yes.
Is this because he's going to go the law to stop it?
Sort of above the law. Rava says that it's not above the law. Rava learns it from the pasuk that is the law. But but we don't have a support for this from the Brisa. That's what we're saying.
We have that with the fire, but the fire that belongs to the person. Like he's responsible if his fire burns someone else.
Right.
But this water comes to nature.
Right. Very good.
So so it's a law that he has to like put sandbags or something throughout the water.
We had a case. You have a town, it gets flooded once every 5 years from floods that come from the mountains and stuff. Peru. So I say, well, it's gonna hurt the produce. I don't get the ruling here. If it's produce, you don't have to do it, but if it's just land.
If it's produce, then you for sure have to do it.
Yeah, okay.
But that's what the Brisa says. If it's just the land, Rava says you have to do it. I don't have support from that from the Brisa. That's what we were discussing. What Rava is telling me, do I have a support for that from the Brisa? So I don't have a support for that.
So how much more so if it's a town? Is it the land you're worried about, or is it the people that live in the land and all the shops that will be destroyed?
Right, for sure. It's regular. What was that story with this kid who stuck his finger in the dike? Where did I
flood in Holland? Yeah, it's Dog of Flanders.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They wake up in the morning and they see the boy. I think
he didn't. Oh really?
To save the city, he stayed there.
Well, they didn't tell me that part. Matzah chamar upara chulu. Someone found a donkey or a cow that's. There were two parts to this: a donkey and a cow that are pasturing. That's fine, but if they're turned over or running through the vineyards, then that's considered a lost item. Hagufa kasha. Gemara says that if you look at this carefully, the implications of each one of these statements, it's going to be a contradiction. It says like this: Amrit matzah chamaru para rayim baderech. If you see that they're pasturing on the road, right? That's the beginning of the Mishnah. We said ein zu aved. Rayim baderech hutalei havi aveda. If it's pasturing on the road, it's not considered a lost item because that's normal. Haratza baderech, but if it's running on the road, v'raya ben akramim, and maybe if it's only pasturing in the vineyards, so then I would say havi aveda. It is a lost item because raya baderech was not lost. But if I switch it just a little bit, ratza baderech, and then I know that ratza ben akramim is considered lost. Ratza means running. But if it's pasturing, not running in the vineyards, then that would be considered lost. So if I just switch it over here, I have two criteria for it to be not lost. It's not lost. One is if it's on the road, and also if it's pasturing. And pasturing. But if I switch one of those, if I switch the road for a vineyard, so it's pasturing in the vineyard, that would be considered lost. If I switch the pasturing for running on the road, then that would also be considered lost. If I switch it one, right? There's two criteria. If I switch one of them, it's considered lost.
You said if it was on the road, then
pasturing on the road is not lost.
Okay. But just not pasturing.
But if it's running on the road, so then it's lost. And if it's not on the road, if it's in a vineyard but pasturing, it's also considered lost. That's what it seems to say. The Mishnah gave me two criteria to be considered not lost.
Pasturing means it's just eating grass.
It's grazing,
Yeah, but
what if it's just, I don't know, if they just had pavement back then, but because it couldn't pasture on the road. Pavement.
I don't know.
The first thing that they mentioned that this cow could be bruised.
Yeah. It gets bruised in the vineyard because there's all these little branches and stuff that you can't really maneuver through it. So when it's running through the vineyard, that's very dangerous. Pasturing through the vineyard is not so dangerous. But we're saying over here, pasturing through the vineyard is considered a lost item because it's going to get hurt there, and it's not where it belongs.
Well, we really give it
No,
away.
we're not. Yeah, right. We're not discussing how to find out the owner. We're discussing should the person that's walking by bring the item to a place where he could call it out to ask whose it is, or can he just say that this is fine? Like you go walk in the parking lot and you see a car there. You don't have to walk inside. Did anyone lose their car? It's in the parking lot. You don't have to do that. That's
Right.
So if there was a cow outside, you don't have to do that. It's fine. It's not lost.
If the car is pasturing, then you have to declare. You better go get it. Not one of these ownerless, driverless cars that's driving around.
Right.
So read this stuff.
Right. Okay, now the Gemara says, Ema Seifa, let's go further.
Okay.
Let's say the opposite. The case later. If the donkey and the utensils are turned over, and the cow is running through the vineyard. But there it says the opposite halacha. This is considered lost. So now we have a cow running through the vineyard is considered lost. Now what does this imply? Two problems there. First, it's in the vineyard, which is dangerous for it. Second of all, it's running. So that's when it's considered a lost item. But if it would have been running on the road, then it wouldn't be lost. Because you need two criteria to consider it lost. You see, the first part of the Mishnah said two criteria to consider it not lost. Now it's two criteria to consider it lost. So if there's only one, or Raya Ben Akram, or if it's only pasturing between them, so it's not considered lost. So Amar Abaya says Yagadal of Raya. Yagadal of Raya. Let me see how he writes this. This means that the friend, one teaches the other. Its counterpart tells about it. The Mishnah distinguishes between grazing and running. Okay, let's see. It goes like this. Roya baderech, if it's pasturing on the road, the leihabi aveda, it's not considered lost, right? That's what the Mishnah started out. And the same thing would apply in the vineyard as well. Tana, it also taught ratza ben akram if it's running. The havi aveda, that's considered lost. And the same thing would apply if it's running on the road. So in other words, what Abai is saying is that it's the pasturing or running, which is going to be the big difference here. Amalei Rava, so Rava says, if that's the way you want to do it, Lisni Kalila Kilta V'Kolshkin Chamirta, then I would have taught it with only the one that's the bigger Chiddush, and then I would have known the lesser Chiddush. Lisni, it should have taught like this. Ratza Baderech Tahavi Aveda. If it's running on the road, that's considered a lost item. Kolshkin Ratza Ben Akram, for sure. If it's running in the vineyards, for sure it's lost. Listening Raya Ben Akramim, and if it wants to tell me Raya pasturing is not considered lost, so let's say pasturing in the vineyards is not lost. Because Raya B'derechim, sure pasturing on the road is not lost. So if that's what it wanted to teach me, it would have said it in a way that would have been more obvious. Ela Marava, so Rava says the different shot. Ratza lekasha. When it says that you have a contradiction if it's running, looks like running on the road, or running in the vineyard, it is lost, it's not lost. He says that it all depends. Hada apa legabi dabra, hada apa legabi masa. It depends if it's running to or from. Which way is it running? Which way is it facing us? If it's running to the city, it's not lost. It's running home. If it's running away from the city towards the desert, then that's considered lost. Raya raya namale kasha. And also when it's pasturing, it's also not a problem. Kamba avedis kufa, kamba avedis karka. Kiktani raya baderech layaveda. When does we say that it's not considered a lost item when it's on the road? Haraya ben akram abi aveda. But if it's in the vineyard, it is considered a lost item. Bavedas karka. That's because it's going to ruin the property. That's what, Professor, you understood that from the beginning. Over here, we didn't understand that. We just thought that the animal was lost. We said it's running through the vineyard. It is a loss, but if it's shepherding, pasturing in the vineyard, it's not. That's Bavidas Gufa. That we're talking about the animal itself is considered lost. Miskava, because if it's running, it's going to get bruised. But if it's just pasturing there, it won't get bruised. But although if it's pasturing in the vineyards, but why don't you have to return it? Because it's ruining the land. You told me before it's ruining the land. Even it says the kuti. It's talking about it's a non-Jewish owner. That's interesting. You can just leave it there. Okay, if it's a non-Jewish owner, the guy may come out with the shotgun and just shoot the animal. He doesn't have any, no restraints from anything. He doesn't want the animal there. It says, this is a type of place where they don't do that. First, they give a warning before they come and kill it. How do you know if it was warned? Maybe the warning was out already, and this is the second time. And now it's really an Aveda because the guy's going to kill it. If he was warned and now the owner didn't watch it, then it's the owner's own fault. It's just he doesn't care about it anymore. Okay. Oh, wait, over there it says idolater?
Yeah, on the commentary, like when the first said kuti, says
I wonder if what it says in the Quran. What does it say in the Quran? Does it say a kuti?
And doesn't it specify that it's a idolater?
The Nachri. Over here it says a non-Jew. Over here it says, by me it says, you have a Nachri, you have a non-Jew, I have a kuti. Mine is the censored version. Put it in the
idolater, and then on the notes at
Yeah,
the
but
bottom
it says,
it's here, i.e.
you have
an
the kuti,
idolater.
right?
And then here it talks again how a kuti is an idolater.
Uh-huh.
But I've seen many cases where the things are different between an idolater or a
kuti.
Noahide.
Right. A Noahide would be different. Okay.
we learned about whether a person's hide to return.
Right. Yeah, we said no. But here we're saying that even though his property is going to get ruined, we're not concerned about it. It's not true.
Do you think it's idolater or just like a non-Jew that's a Noahide? Maybe for a Noahide it would
Right,
be
right. Right, that would make sense. Yeah. Okay.
If you return something to one of these people, they'll probably think they're idol. A
Uh-huh.
Noahide knows
Right.
Hashem.
Right. Yeah, I think what it really has to do with not if they're going to go thank their idol. I think what it has to do with are we obligated to help them live, help them survive? So I think by the Noahide we are obligated.
That makes sense.
Right. Let's say he returned it and it ran away. He returned it and it ran away. Yeah, there was this goat by the farm, Ray's farm.
Yeah.
So they called it Geometry, and it was able. That was the goat's name. They had pet goats, but it was able to get out of like everything that it could somehow manage to get through. There was like a little place to feed it, and it could like jump through it and get out. So they blocked it off. They blocked off made all the holes smaller and everywhere, and then it died.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I think it was emotional. Okay.
Couldn't survive in a prison.
Okay. It was one of the students told Rava, Ema Hashiv Chadazimna. Maybe when it says Hashiv Teshivim, it doesn't mean 4 or 5 times, like Mishnah says. Maybe Hashiv means you return it once. Teshivim is Trezimni, twice. Amalei, so Rava responded, no. Hashiv afilu kufpam memashma. When it says Hafshiv, you return, that means even 100 times. To Shivim, and it says you return it, that was only El Besa. I would think that you only allowed to return it to the person's house. Like how do you know I can put it into his garden? Or I can put it into his abandoned house, a broken down house. That's considered returning it. That's considered a returning. The Gemara says, one second. If the place that he returned it to is a guarded area, his garden is guarded, so pshita, then obviously that's considered returning. And if it's not guarded, so why is that acceptable? Basically, it's lost again. So li'olam demintra, really it is guarded. It's coming to tell me is that you don't need to notify the owner that you returned his item. You just have to put it back. Because Rabbi Lazar taught the Amar, he said, everything needs to be, you don't need to notify the owner except for a Shavas Aveda, where you do not need to notify the other owner because it says Hashiv Teshivim. It's enough just to return it. You don't have to notify him that you returned it. Unless, of course, you want a nice reward. You can tell him, I returned your item, here's my address. You want to send something? Okay, Shalach to Shalach. When it's talking about sending away the mother bird to take the young, you're not supposed to take the mother either away from the young. You can take the young, send away the mother bird and take the young, but you can't take the young with the mother on it, and you can't take the mother away from the young. Right? Ema, maybe this means shalach, you send away. Once to shalach, when it says send away, that's the second time, but you don't have to do it more than that. Amalei shalach afilamei apamim. Says that means even 100 times you have to send away. If it keeps coming back before you can get the birds away, the young, then you have to send it away again, even 100 times. Maybe that would only be if you only need to eat the eggs or the young. The dvar mitzvah minayin. How do you know? Even if you need the young bird for a mitzvah, maybe over there, maybe it's not prohibited. Maybe I can take the mother away from the young. Why would I need it for a mitzvah? The purifying the mitzvah, you need a bird. Maybe for that you don't need to send it away.
Does this only apply to birds?
This young student told Rava, when it comes to rebuking someone, maybe you only have to rebuke him once. And it says again, trace him, it's the second time. Amalei, so he said, no, rebuke, you have to rebuke even 100 times. When it says what is that telling me? That's only the teacher rebuking the student. How do you know the student has to rebuke the teacher if he's doing something wrong? You have to rebuke him anyway. You have to unload the donkey. It's falling under the load. Should surely help him. I would only know Imai together with him. How do you know they have to help the donkey? We get the load off the donkey even if the owner's not there. You have to unload nevertheless. Hakim Takim, you have to load up the donkey. Imai together with him. Mainly I would only know if the owner's there. How do you know you have to upload the donkey even if the owner's not there? You have to upload it. It must be that it's not the package on the side, because that would be like, why do you have to put packages on top of it? It must be that it's under the load and you have to adjust it back on. It must mean like it's falling to the side. You have to get it back on it.
Is this a complete list of the double Lashonos, or just those who refer to Shabbos?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know, like what else. I don't have in my head the other ones. Yeah. But from Naftali asking if there's other. This is double expressions. And Naftali saying are there others that the Gemara here is mentioning. Now the Gemara says, why does it have to tell me that you have to help unload the donkey and you also have to help upload the donkey? Right. So tzricha, it's necessary. What does San one? I want to know on the other. Because Rachman Aprika food only said to unload. Excuse me. You could have thought that maybe you have to unload because the animal is suffering, and also it's hurting. Could damage the animal, so that's why you have to unload. But to upload the donkey, then over there you don't have tsar b'lechaim. You don't have pain to the animal when the package isn't on its back. And also the animal isn't getting ruined by the package being on in an uncomfortable manner. I think not. But if it would only tell me that you have to upload mishum de beskar, because you're allowed to take payment to upload the donkey. You can't take payment to unload. But when it comes to unloading, I could which is for free. Could have thought maybe you don't have to. So tricha, that's why it's necessary to say that you have to unload for free as well.
Like this mitzvah here, it's mostly done in concern for the animal, not just to be nice.
Right. Well, there's two parts to it. You'll see in a second. And according to Reb Shimon, that says that you have to upload for free also. According to him, why does it have to say that you have to unload? If you have to upload for sure, you have to unload. Both of them are for free, without payment, and that even has tsar b'lechaim. So the Gemara says Reb Shimon le'misai mikrai. The problem is that the pasuk doesn't say clearly upload or unload. The pasuk just says falling under its load, you should surely help him. Shalom, you want to get that chumash? Remember the blue chumash that's over there, but next to the white. So if it would have only said one of them, then I wouldn't have known which one it's referring to. I would have thought it's only referring to unloading. I wouldn't have known that it's referring to uploading because the pasuk wasn't clear. So that's why I need to have two verses, and then one of them is for sure talking about the unloading because that's the more obvious one. So why do I need the second one that's telling me that it's referring to the uploading? Where's the pasuk? Tazev. Hakim Takim. One is in Devarim 22, one is in Shemais. Let's see. Devarim 22, 4.
Every time that you have like this double statement, it's probably something similar to this. Because they're teaching it.
Yeah, that's what we're learning here. Here the verse says, you should not watch your brother's donkey or his ox fallen. It doesn't say under the load. It says fallen on the road and turn the blind eye to him. Rather, you should pick up with him. Hakim takim, you should pick up with him. Now, that could mean either uploading or unloading. We say that it's referring to the loading. Very good.
The other.
Yeah, uploading. Okay, now the other verse is in 20 Shmais Chaf Gimel, Shmais 23. What pasuk? Tazit 5. Here it says, if you come across your enemy's ox, or no, that's 5. Perhaps if you see your enemy's donkey lying under its load, you would refrain from helping him. You must help him, and that we say that it's referring to unloading. Here we say the enemy's donkey lying under its load. Perhaps you would refrain from helping him. You must help him. So according to Reb Shimon, it wouldn't have been clear which one is referring to. If there was only one of them, that it was referring to uploading.
That's a picking up. The other one is he's lying.
Is helping. This says helping.
Get his load off his back so
Right.
he can stand up again.
Right.
Here in the notes, it says that even like loading the donkey, you should help the owner because it's much more gentle if the load is placed with.
Oh yeah, exactly. But 1 second, we're gonna get to that. Why do we need to say pre-cantina, which means uploading and unloading the donkey? Why does it need to also teach me about a lost item? Both of them are the same thing. Both of them are telling me you should not let someone's money be destroyed. So it's necessary. If we would say these two, Mishum Tzara the Mara, Isa Tzara Dida Isa. There's two types of pain. The master has pain, he's standing there, he's not able to get it on. And there's also pain for the animal if the master puts the load on his own and not together with someone else helping him. Because if the master puts the load on, then he puts it on in an uneven way, and that's painful for the animal. But when it comes to a lost object, there's only pain to the owner. We don't have concern that pain to the animal. I would say that there's no problem. And if it would only say by the lost item that you have to return it, because the owner's not standing by, he doesn't know where it is. But over here, the owner's standing right there. I could think maybe I don't have to help him. So tricha, necessary to say you have to help him. Then you see these people on the side of the road. Right? Say, well, they're fine. There's people there with the car. It's all good. No, you have to go over and help. Right? Yeah, I'm talking about the modern example of this is the flat tire.
That's comparable exactly?
No, I don't know.
It sounds like this. We wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't be allowed to help on that dollar. Then how do we know?
Right. I don't know. Right. Do they say today it's dangerous to stop for people on the side of the road? What do they say? Yeah, it is dangerous to stop to help them.
They have cameras everywhere. They usually they have like road rangers like on all the highways. In the middle of the street, they don't have that service, but they have road rangers. Take
people that need a ride.
Oh, that's hitchhikers. Yeah. I don't see hitchhikers anymore.
No,
they used to be.
Not a self.
I remember my parents saying, "Oh, don't pick up hitchhikers." It was like a big deal. In when was that? Like in the 80s, they would say, "Oh, don't pick up hitchhikers."
No, but
in Israel, everyone's hitching.
Also, like in Heights, Borough Parks,
oh yeah, over there in Muncie, yeah, everyone's getting rides. Yeah. Right. Okay. Now it says, "Mais yumas hamake enli al misak suva." It says that you should surely put to death this is someone that killed. Minayin, I would only know that the punishment that it was prescribed, which is, I guess, is a is that by sword? I don't remember. Yeah. Minayin, Rashi says by sword. Minayin shemiat yachal amisi miksuva. Maybe let's say the guy's jumping onto a boat, he's running away, you can't catch him, but you can still shoot him with an arrow. Talking about the court here. Yeah, you put him to death in any way that you can, even though it's not the prescribed punishment. Hakesak, it's not the prescribed method. Hakesake, this is you should surely wipe out the Yarni Dachas. I would only know the way that it was written in the text. I think also meant by sword. How do you know that if you can't because they're running away, how do you know that you can use other methods? Does the double expression teach me that in any way that you need to? Tashiv should surely return. This is referring to returning a collateral that was taken because of a loan. I would only know that if the collateral was taken because the court took the collateral. If the person took the collateral on his own, how do you know that over there he violated the rules and he took the collateral without the court issuing that allowance? How do you know that he still has to return it? You know, you're supposed to return it in the evening. You're supposed to take it in the morning. No matter what, you return it. This is also referring to returning the collateral. How do you know that if you took it without permission, they have to return it? You definitely have to return it. Now, Hani Trey Kroy Lamali, why do I need these two verses? Let's see, 22. Here it says, one is in Dvarim and one is in Shemais. Over here it says 22, 25. It says that when you lend money, my people, the poor person, and then have it who is with you, if you know he cannot repay the loan, you do not behave towards him as a lender, claiming your money forcibly. You do not place interest payments upon him. If he fails to pay the loan on time, you take your friend's daytime garment as a security. You must return it to him for the entire day until the sun sets. Im Chabal Tachbal. Im Chabal Tachbal. Just 1 second. You take your friend's garment. Chabal Tachbal Salmas Riacha. You take your friend's garment. I'm sorry. Right, exactly. Right, exactly. You take your friend's daytime garment as a security, you must return it to him for the entire day until the sun sets. So you take it by night, the daytime garment, and then. Oh, right. And then the next pasuk says, you must also return his night garments by night, for if it is only his covering, it is his garment for his skin. With what will he sleep? If he cries out to me, I will listen because I am compassionate. Okay. So that's what it says over here in Shemais, and then it says Hashiv Tashiv in Dvarim. So the Gemara says, why do I need these two psukim? One is telling me the day garment, one is telling me the night garment. Okay. Now it says, Pasayach Tiftach. You should surely open your hand to give him tzedakah. I would only know for the poor of your city. How do you know you have to give poor for another city? You should surely open your hand. Nasan titin. Should surely give. I would only know a large gift. How do you know you give a small gift as well? Nevertheless, you have to give. Now, this is a little surprising. I think that maybe you don't give a small gift. There's another pshat over here, which is that maybe if the person needs a big gift, then everyone should contribute. But if the person has already some money and he only needs a little bit, maybe you don't have to be the one to contribute. It's not talking about the giver of the gift. I would only think you have to give a big gift. But a small gift, who would say that? How do you know they have to give? So it comes to no. I would know that I only have to give someone that needs a lot of money. But someone that almost has all the money and only needs a little bit left, maybe I don't have to give him. Whatever, he'll figure it out. He's almost there. So, in those charts where they have like this thermometer chart, looking, maybe I'll only have to give when it's on the bottom. Hanik Tanik. This is when you set a slave free, you have to give him a present. Give him a present when he goes free. Called Hanaka.
It's like a value of what it has to be.
I'm not sure the amount. Yeah, I'm sure it has to be a Shavapruta. So how much do you have to give him? I'm not sure, but it says like this. Mainly unless it's Bar Chabayis Biglalai. Maybe that's only when it was said by this is said by the Jewish slave, right? As well. You're not allowed to set them free, right? Yeah. This is talking about your brother that's working 6 years. On the 7th year, set him free. When you send him free, don't send him empty. You have to give him gifts of cattle and grain. Okay. So it says like this. You should say, give him a maybe that's only if the house was blessed that he was working there. How do you know that if there was no blessing in the house when he was working there, how do you know you still have to give him a gift? Say, well, the owner's going to say, well, what did you do for me anyway? I have to give you a gift now that you're going free. He says, no, nevertheless, you still have to give the gift. That's why there's a double expression. That's very uncommon. According to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, according to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, that says you only have to give gift to the slave, the Jewish slave, when he's going free, only if the house got a blessing while he was there. But if the house did not have a blessing while he was there, then you don't have to give him the gift. So why does it have a double expression? Like my answer is it's just the regular language of man. I wonder if that means, Taisvus asks, does that mean that he doesn't accept anything from before, all of the things that we just mentioned? Taisvus says, Yeshlam dafka hacha. Maybe specifically here by these verses, he says, Adam. Okay. Have tavitenu. It says,
Okay, he holds that this was just common language. What about the other?
right,
all the other ones?
Taisvus, right. So have tavitenu means that you should give charity, right? You should make a pledge. Ainli ala she'ein lai, vein right to lisparnis. Amarachmanaten derech halva. It says that you should give him a loan if a person doesn't have and doesn't want to work. Yesh lai vein right to lisparnis minayin. How do you know that if he has income or if he has money, but he still wants a loan? How do you know you're supposed to give him a loan? It says that. Yeah, let me read the verse inside. If there will be a destitute person from among one of your brothers, one in your town, in the land that your God has given to you, you must not harden your heart to shut your hand from your destitute brother. Rather, you must repeatedly open your hand to him and give him charity. And if he will not take a gift, then give him a loan sufficient to fulfill his requirements that he is lacking. So Pasayach Tiftach means charity. Havit Tavitan is to give him a loan. Now, this comment here, but the Gemara says maybe someone he doesn't have work and he doesn't want to take a gift, so that's why you have to give him a loan. But let's say he has his own. Oh, if he has his own money, but he doesn't want to spend it up, he has his own savings, doesn't want to spend it, and he wants to get a loan for whatever reason. How do you know you're supposed to give him a loan as well? You should give him a loan. Rab Shimon, but according to Rab Shimon, if he has his own savings, but doesn't want to spend it, you don't have to give him a loan. So why do I have the double expression? So according to Rab Shimon, yeah, the Torah speaks in the language of man. Okay, hey, yeah.
It explains it the opposite also. Like if he has saving and he doesn't want to use it, you give him a loan that appears as a gift, and then you charge his savings.
Oh, if he dies.
Yeah, after he
Right.
passes.
Okay. If he was losing a sella, which is a large amount of money, by returning this item, so he doesn't get a full sella because he's not doing work. He just gets paid as a pile bottle, a worker that's idle, a pile like a worker. It doesn't have the bottle is in parentheses. Tana was taught in a brayser. Tanan, kapile bottle. He gets paid like a pile bottle. My pile bottle. What does it mean? like a worker that's idle. Like a worker that's idle from that work that he was doing. So it goes like this.
I don't understand what's the difference if he's saying he's not getting paid for the labor loss versus asking to get paid for returning it.
Yeah,
those are two
what he's
different-
doing is he has a very difficult job that he usually does, but he gets paid a high salary. Now he came up with he has this lost what's it called? It's lost item. So instead of going to work, he's going to return the lost item. Get it, and he'll but he's not going to get paid. Get paid like jury duty. No, he's not going to get paid.
So
not gonna
he's getting paid for the act labor of returning his lost item,
So-
but not the labor that he lost from
Right,
his job.
right.
So that's like,
Yes, exactly. So what the Gemara is saying is that he gets paid like a worker. So what do you mean like a worker? It says, well, the fact is he didn't actually do the work that he's asking for the money for. He's not actually doing that work. He's saying it's only a missed opportunity. So we say what we do is we pay him how much a person that was making that amount of money would give to be able to sit down and not do the work. If you could do that difficult work, but instead get out of it and do this easier work of returning the lost object, so how much would you pay to do that? And that difference would be the pile buckles payment. And how much would you be willing to take less to do less hard, less difficult work?
The finder or the owner?
As the finder. The finder gets paid that amount that he would take, that a person would take less.
But that's like relative, because if he has like a high paying job, he might be willing to pay more to do these minimal things.
yeah, it sounds like he
Right,
negotiates.
it is relative. Depends how much he would, depending on what he would have earned, and depending on how difficult the work is. If the work isn't difficult, then all he has to do, he gets a job of, counting the salmon go up the Colombian River. Ah, money. Pretty tough. Okay. Oh, I see. Like the other person? No, we're not talking about talking about the finder has a job, but he's not doing that job. So we don't give him the salary of the job that he's not doing. We give him the salary of what the person with his actual job would have done, would have agreed to get paid without not to do the full job. Okay. Isser Rav Safra, Avediska Badi Adadi. Is Isser two people, Isser and Rav Safra. They were doing business. Also Rav Safra went, in front of two people. He divided up the merchandise. And it's okay, look, I'm in a rush, I got to go, and let me take my half. And he quickly divided up, and he goes. Also, the Rabba bar Ravuna, come in front of maybe Rav Abba. The Rabba bar Ravuna, Amalei Zilaisi Tlasa, the Palgas Kamayu. Bring three people that you divided in front of, because you're supposed to be in front of a bezdin. Inami, or else Trey Migoy Tlasa, bring two of the three that will testify that you divided in front of three people. Inami Trey Sadi, the Palgas Papi Beit Tlasa, or else bring two other witnesses that you divided in front of three people, and then this will be acceptable. Amalei Minalachai, so where do you get this from? Amalei Ditnan, it's a clear Mishnah. Yesham Bezdin, if there's a Bezdin, which means three people, Masnim Bifneim, then you make this condition in front of them that you're only going to return the lost object if you're going to get your payment. Ain't Sham Bezdin Bifneim Yasner and Shalei Kaidim. Then if you don't have anyone if you don't have three people there, then your income comes first. So basically, you can't make any decisions here on dividing something up unless you have a bezdin there. Amalei midami. So Rav Safra says, how could you compare? Hasam demapik mi mayna mehai umaysev lahai being in bezdin. Over there, you're about to charge someone money for returning his lost object, but you don't know if the person's going to agree to that. So in order to make a decision that the person's going to have to pay money from himself to the other person, you need a bezdin there. Aval hacha didei shakli, maybe it's didi. Didi shakli. It's over here. I'm taking what's mine. Kilo milsa balmo. This is what was already mine before. I'm not taking anything from him. I'm just dividing it up. It's just revealing which part was mine, which part was his. So, betray sagale. It's enough to have two witnesses to testify what I took. Teda, I'll prove it to you. The Tanana was taught in the Mishnah. Almana mecheres lebifnei beis. If there's a widow that needs money for her food, she's supposed to get sustenance from the estate. And so if there's no actual cash there, so she can take items and sell it. Amalei Abaya says to, who is this? I guess Rav Safra says, one second. You see, the widow was able to sell without, not in front of Besdin.
Nah.
Even though, okay, that's the case. So that's because that was supposed to be hers and she was taking her sustenance. Abaya says, no, didn't we say, wasn't it taught about that? Amar Rav Yosef bar Menumi, Amar Rav Nachman, you don't need expert judges, but you do need regular people that are there. You still need three people. So basically what you did by dividing in front of two people was not acceptable. Yeah. You need to have three people.
The notes here says that the widow didn't have to do it in front of the business.
Read further. Read further. No, we go further. Go after that. Right to the Mishnah.
It says the Mishnah states that this sale.
Yeah, so go further over here. It says, but she indeed needs to sell before a court of laymen. Read number 6. Because that was no, it doesn't cut it off. You're only at the Gemara switches. You're at the earlier stage of the Gemara. Then the Gemara continues and says that that's not what Rav Nachman said. Rav Nachman said that it needs to be in front of all right. Okay. The Mishnah. Matzah berefes. How do you translate refes? A pen?
Barn.
A barn. She finds.
I had to excuse myself. 7:30.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Actually, should we stop over here? Let's leave it over here. Let's leave it over here. Okay. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry, my minion time has changed on Sunday, and I have to scoot out at 7:30.
Okay. Okay. But we're having too much fun. Okay.
These last few pages could be called the chapter on Derek Eretz, you know?
Yeah, that's true.